Sometimes we get so caught up with the online content that we forget to tap into books as a way of learning new skills and widening our knowledge in a certain field. I know that there are dozens of excuses to not read a book, like I don't have time, it's boring or whatever, but please leave those out the door, as I'd like to open your eyes to some gems that will really be worthy of your time when it comes to creativity and storytelling. With filmmaking, we often forget that apart from a film being an audio-visual piece, it's also about writing. So we watch a lot of movies, but we don't read as many books. And you can learn how to film, but you should also learn how to write a great story if you want your film to have somewhat of a success. Anyways, you get my point. Now, let's dive into the books. The first one on the list is On Writing by Stephen King. And while at its core is a memoir about King's personal journey as a writer, it offers valuable insights into the craft of storytelling. He emphasizes the importance of owning one's writing skills, exploring the nuances of character development, and crafting engaging narratives. He shares some valuable rules that he has built over time in his writing career. Actually, one of the most important things about great writing isn't so much the writing itself, but what you cut out from your script. He says that draft 2 equals draft 1 minus 10%. And that is definitely something you could use when developing a story, heck, even when writing down a pitch or an email to a client. Something else he writes about is that all novels are really letters aimed at one person, and it's the same in filmmaking. You have to know your audience that you're creating for, otherwise you can't really expect them to be moved by your project. Another thing to think about is that every character you create is partly you. And that's very true because you can't escape from yourself, your experiences and feelings. So subconsciously, every story that you write or tell through a film, you're basing parts of it on yourself, and also to some extent, you're doing it for yourself. He also writes about some very important things such as how to build dialogue and description. Now, if we take that to film description, that would be production design, how the characters are portrayed, what are the locations, and so on. King says that description begins with visualization of what it is he wants the reader, or in this case viewer, to experience, and it ends with your translating what you see in your mind into words on the page or into words on the screen in our case. I can probably make a video talking only about this book, and I really can't recommend it enough. It's deep dive into the way of thinking of one of the greatest writers of our time, and you can learn a ton from it and then incorporate it in your work. So definitely read that one. I promise you, you won't regret it. The second book I want to talk about today is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Now, this book won't give you advice on how to tell stories, but it's a great example of an extraordinary story in itself. I believe that the same way as we watch movies because we enjoy the stories that we are seeing, but then also we watch YouTube tutorials to learn, reading books that give advice should be combined with reading books that tell a great story. So that's why I included this book in today's list. It's again something of a memoir where Matthew McConaughey shares his personal anecdotes, lessons, and philosophies that have shaped his life and career. I believe his insight can inspire us to embrace our unique voice and approach storytelling with authenticity and passion. I remember when I read this book, I felt energized and fueled with motivation, and honestly it kept me going for a couple of months, and I can't really describe you how or why, but I think reading it can serve as a reminder to embrace setbacks and turn them into opportunities, to navigate obstacles with resilience and kind of seek the green lights in our own journeys. And last but not least, a great book. It's called The Director's Intuition by Judith Weston. This is not your typical screenwriting book, okay? It emphasizes on the importance of intuition in the filmmaking process by making you focus on your creative instincts and unique vision. I'd recommend this one if you're interested in the narrative or documentary genre, as there is some very helpful information on working with talent, building a connection with the actors. Like, I think even if you're working on a documentary and you're wondering how to approach the interview element or the emotion you're trying to showcase on screen, this book will help you achieve the emotional truth in your storytelling. And after all, if you master that exact quality, you can create powerful and emotionally resonant scenes that connect with audiences on a deeper level. Actually, in this book, there are some simple yet very very interesting exercises that you could do to better your writing capabilities, your directorial approach and stuff like that. So I just want to read you a couple of the exercises. They're really simple. So for example, let your mind make free associations, ask questions, give yourself inner permission, observe, empathize, don't pass judgment, tell stories, take time to think and daydream, spend time with art, nature, children, surround yourself with people who have feelings, follow impulses, test your ideas. So yeah, as you can see, those are some very simple things that you can try out, and especially the parts with associations, I found that very interesting because Judith Weston, she used to do in-person workshops for screenwriters, directors, and actors, and how to approach certain situations on set. So actually, she's very famous, and a lot of from the movies that we have seen on the big screen, she has actually been part of the behind the scenes, you know, helping the directors achieve the certain emotion that they're after, and so on and so forth. So yeah, all three are really very different and amazing on their own. Remember that skillful storytelling is about simplicity and not complexity. Yeah, I really hope you enjoy those books. This kind of wraps today's video. I'm very curious to hear what you think, and if you have other book recommendations, yeah, whether this form of content is interesting to you. So yeah, like, subscribe, and catch you in the next one.